There is something inside you that you cannot explain, something that has always been present in the depths of your being. It has no defined name or concrete shape, but it is completely real. It has been by your side since the very first moment of your existence, lurking in the shadows of your consciousness, in the darkest corners of your thoughts. You have felt it on nights when silence becomes dense, on days when an invisible presence seems to watch you from the shadows. It is not paranoia, it is not mere imagination. It is something much more tangible than you have been led to believe. You have walked through life with a persistent feeling that you have never been able to shake. Sometimes you call it intuition, other times you describe it as a premonition, but deep down, it is a truth you have been reluctant to accept. There is something in you that others do not understand. A subtle yet unmistakable detail sets you apart from the rest. You have never been like them. Since childhood, you knew that the world did not function as it should. The people around you seemed to move on autopilot while you saw beyond the obvious. You perceived things others ignored. You knew when someone was lying without concrete proof. You sensed danger before it arrived. And yet, when you tried to explain what you experienced, the world made you believe you were losing your mind. But the reality is that you were never crazy. Now you understand it clearly. There have always been forces operating in the shadows, forces that cannot touch you physically, but have sought to destroy you in more subtle ways. They have infiltrated your life disguised as opportunities, friendships, and loves, setting traps along your path. Not to take you down immediately, but to slowly divert you, to confuse you, to make you doubt yourself. That has been their plan from the beginning, to make you forget who you are. They have filled you with noise, distractions, thoughts that are not yours, because they know that if you remember your true power, the game will be over for them. There is something in you that terrifies them, a light they can never possess. No matter how much they try to influence you, they will never truly be able to touch you. They know this, which is why they do not attack you head-on. They prefer to use other tactics, other voices, other faces, other forms of manipulation. They do not need to destroy you physically. They only need you to destroy yourself. What if everything you believed was secure was actually part of a grand deception? What if some of the people closest to you were not there by coincidence but by design? What if everything had been carefully calculated to keep you trapped in confusion, doubt, and despair? Because that is their true goal, to prevent you from discovering who you really are. But the most curious thing is that you always knew. You always felt that your life had a greater purpose. You always noticed that even in the darkest moments something was protecting you. They have tried to break you time and time again, but you are still here, stronger than the system's rules should allow. Why are you still standing? Why have you survived when others have fallen along the way? It is not coincidence or luck. It is because you are different, and they know it. The only question is, how much longer will you ignore it? Every moment you spend doubting, they advance. Every time you question what you feel, they gain ground. They do not need to eliminate you. They only need to plant enough doubt in your mind to paralyze you, to make you think it is not worth fighting. They do not seek to destroy you. They seek to turn you into something harmless, something irrelevant. Think about how many times they have pushed you to the limit, how many times you felt alone, isolated, with no one to trust. It was not a coincidence. It was an attack. Not with physical weapons, but with despair, with exhaustion, with a slow poison that seeped into your mind without you noticing. Because their strategy is to turn you into your worst enemy. And the saddest part is that at some point you made it easy for them, because you started to believe their lies. You thought the pain you felt was normal, that your loneliness was your fault, that your sensitivity was a weakness. That is where they trapped you, because the forces that operate in the shadows do not need to scream. They do not need to drag you into darkness. They only need to make you close your eyes to the light. But if you dared to open them, you would see what has always been right in front of you. You would see that there was a reason why life put seemingly impossible tests before you. It was not a punishment. It was not bad luck. It was training. Because if you discovered who you really are, nothing could stop you. And that is what they fear the most. That you wake up. Now you know. Now the war changes. They will no longer just try to distract you. Now they will try to drive you to despair, to make you believe that all is lost. Because when an enemy is cornered, it becomes more aggressive. And that is what happens when someone like you begins to awaken. You will notice it if you look around. Some people no longer fit into your life as they once did. Some situations you tolerated now feel unbearable. It is not a coincidence. It is proof that something inside you is changing. And when you change, the world responds. You do not have to win the war in a single day. You do not need immediate answers. You only need one thing: awareness. Because once you are aware of what is happening, their power disappears. Once you see them, once you understand their tactics, they lose their advantage over you. Because the battle was never against them, it was always against yourself. And now comes the key question. Will you keep playing their game, or will you write your own rules? The answer is inside you. It always has been. The only question is, are you ready to see it? Sometimes, you, I, and everyone who has watched this video until the end think that something is not worth it or that we will never reach where we desire. Please, you must understand that this thought is nothing more than the demons speaking in our minds. So, think with me for a moment and say, "Get out of my head, because I am capable of achieving anything if I set my mind to it and have faith in it." Chosen one, if you have made it this far, leave a comment saying, "I am one of the few chosen ones on earth." That way, everyone will know that you are among those few. And that is where we end. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned for the upcoming videos on the channel and leave your like. Until next time, Chosen One.